Hi, I'm Grammy, and also known as Suzanne LaFollette Black, and I'd like to introduce my co-host, Nannie, who is also Beverly McGahey, and we're the grandparents of 11 grandchildren between us. Last time we met, we talked about grandparent names and how they stick with our grandkids. How did you come up with your name from your grandchildren? We also shared resources for grandparents like Grand Magazine and AARP, as well as Generations United. Since our last program, it's been interesting. We have been contacted by many grandmothers who are actually raising their grandkids, and they've been looking for help. And I'm so glad that Beverly and I are able to help them with their resources and assistance to make sure that transition works well with their grandchildren. So, speaking about that, on July 8th, we have an expert. Her name is Amy Goyer. She's a national expert on grandparenting. And so, stay tuned, save the date. And if you know other people that are actually raising their children, they might be relatives like Beverly, she raised some of her nieces and nephews, or if you're a grandparent raising a child, you know, stay tuned. Come on, join us on July 8th. So we have a motto here of what a definition of a grandparent is. It's a little bit parent, a little bit teacher, and a little bit best friend. As a matter of fact, we're the best grown-ups there can be when it comes to grandkids. So we wanted to really share with you some things that Beverly and I have learned, or I should say Nannie, have learned about working with our grandkids during this pandemic. We want to share with you how to use
Hey,
virtual learning.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second.
Yeah.
We're not integrated to Facebook.
Why?
We're just showing on YouTube, and I'm one of two viewers. So I would. Did you select it? It's selected as YouTube up top.
I didn't touch that. I wonder if it happened when Rebecca was going in.
Let me here. I'm going to add our Facebook page, and let's start over.
Okay. So you want me to end the broadcast?
Yeah, let's start over in 20 seconds. I've saved changes.
So what about the link? Is it the same link or a different one?
Let's just start over.
No, you're not. Same link? Because last time I had to create a link. Remember that time with the legislators?
Just start over. No. It's gonna just start over.
Means
We'll clean it up at the end. Start over.
It means start the conversation over.
In 20 seconds.
Come on, Suzanne. We're just going to start over.
Okay, got it.
And stuff, yeah.
All right. I thought I had to hit something. All right, just checking. Hi, I'm Suzanne, better known as Grammy, and I'd like to introduce my co-host, Beverly McGahey, better known as Nannie.
Hello.
And we're the grandparents of 11 grandchildren between us. Last time we met, we talked about grandparent names and how they stick with our grandkids. We also shared resources for grandparents like Grand Magazine and AARP and Generations United. Since our last program, we've heard from two grandmothers who are actually raising their grandchildren, and they need help and what resources are available. So we decided to do a show on July 8th, save that date, with Amy Goyer, who's a national expert, to help folks who are relatives as well as grandparents who are actually raising kids. And I must say, I admire Nannie very much because she raised her nieces and nephews and did such an outstanding job. So let's talk about what a grandparent is. It could be a little bit of a parent, a little bit of a teacher, and a little bit best friend. And I would say, when you say, Nannie, that's kind of how we're viewed with our grandkids?
Yeah, I think we are their grown-up best friend. We're their confidants and their playmates and their teachers. So yeah, a grandparent is a little bit of everything.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that's so true. So, so during this pandemic, there was a lot going on about virtual learning, and we want to make sure that our kids were actually having the best experience possible. And how we do that is to help create those experiences with memories, enhance their education with fun and technology, and how we can leverage that by learning together. So at this time, Beverly, I think you wanted to mention something about a step grandson. Is that right?
Well, no, we don't call them steps in our
Excuse
home.
me. Sorry.
They're
Okay.
all our grandchildren. Yeah, so
Yes.
I have 6 grandkids between me. But I mean, I have 6 grandchildren, but my husband and I. And so AJ is our only grandchild that is not in the same state or city that we're in. He's in Washington, and then I have 5 grandkids that live in our in the same city, and so I have Brooke, 7, Aaron, Bailey, Bryn, and AJ. That's 6, right?
Yeah, you can count.
Yeah. Susan and I were having this conversation. We talked about, you know, supporting our grandchildren, long distance, supporting them during the virtual learning process that they had to experience during the pandemic, and ways that we could, as grandparents, help supplement those experiences virtually because they're missing out on the interaction, one-on-one interaction, and with the teacher as well as with their classmates.
That is so true. And so this is what we're going to be doing today is that we want to share with you some technology ideas, also some other educational opportunities to think about. And we want to look at that secret sauce for learning. We want to make sure that our grandkids are feeling empowered by making some choices when it comes to their education. But also, we want to make sure we're going by the book, what the school says, so we help with those types of things. But I wanted to be sure to have you look right underneath us. I think we'll go ahead and start that banner just in a minute here, and you can see all the great resources that we've got that you can glean. So www.aarp.org/family, as well as looking at our Staying Sharp series, which gets into a lot of puzzles and games that you could do with your grandkids. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But right now, I want you to think about the next time you're going to be playing Barbies or trucks or board games with your grandchild or just reading. And whether it's in person or on a video chat, by taking a moment to be really intentional in communicating your affection, which can have very positive outcomes. Nannie, you want to share a few things about that with the research?
Yeah, so and I think this probably comes pretty holistically to grandparents and when they're playing and interacting with their grandchildren. But one thing that the research shows, and that I do in my daily interaction with them, or whenever I'm interacting, is positive affirmations, positive confirmations about our relationship and then about who they are. So, I say things like, and the research supports this, you're special. You're so smart. What? Oh, you have a great imagination. Um, you're so special in my life. Thank you for being polite, or thank you for using your manners. So you're just doing things. I'm so grateful that you're my grandkid. You're the best grandkid in the world. How did you learn how to do that? You need to teach me. So those types of phrases just really go back and solidify and confirm to them how special they are in your life, that they have abilities. And it's just in your everyday interaction. And I think those are the memories that, and the research shows that when they ask adult grandchildren what they remember most about their grandparents, those types of phrases come up, that they remember that their grandparents supported them, that they had an unconditional love for them, that they thought that they were smart. So I think the things that naturally comes as part of being a grandparent for us are the things that are supported by research that really leaves a lifelong lasting impression on your grandchildren.
Gosh, that is so true. With that affirmation and affection to our grandkids, learning becomes fun, endeared, and remembered. So let's talk about ways we can connect with virtual learning with those things in mind that Nannie just shared with you. So Nannie, tell me, what do you do to ignite the spark with your grandkids for they want to really learn?
Well, I think, Suzanne, my experience, especially during the pandemic, was trying to keep learning fun for my grandkids and supplement, the interactions with school. I think I said that previously with the, not being in person. So I really um, the first thing I did was, I think reading is fundamental. I'm from that generation. You guys might remember that phrase. But so I connected I'm sorry, signed up for Scholastic readers, and I had each one of my grandchildren choose a genre of books that they would like, and I ordered that, and I had it delivered to them on a regular basis, because reading helped to open up, as we all know, helps to open up your world, gives you different experiences, helps takes you out of what you're actually um, your reality, and takes you to special places, and it helps with creativity. It helps with vocabulary, and understanding context and content. So reading is, to me, the foundation of everything. There are also Highlights magazine, which I really enjoyed giving to my kids, and I still enjoy them. My grandkids, I still enjoy them as well. And they have different focus areas and highlights. They have, hidden pictures where you can concentrate and develop focus. They have stories where you can build their reading and their vocabulary. So those are a couple of things. And we also, everything doesn't have to be intellectual. I think that apps where you can have fun and interact with your grandkids, like Apple. The iPhone has an app that you can play Uno as a family, even though you're not in the same house. And that those types of experiences also build, memories and relationships with your grandkids.
Wow, that is so true. I was just thinking, I remember highlights when I was my oldest granddaughter's age at 7. And I thought that was so cool. Living on an Indian reservation, it kind of opened up my world in a different way.
Yeah.
And I was so grateful that my grandparents got me that subscription. So thanks for bringing that up. That's good memories. So tell us, what education, technology, resources, and programs can grandparents share with their grandkids and their parents?
Yeah. Well, another experience we had, Suzanne, is during the pandemic. Um, um, trying to connect our children, my grandkids, to things that they really enjoy. I have one grandchild who loves science and technology, and so it's really important for us as grandparents. This is my belief, to stay at the forefront of technology, Instagram, Siri, iPhones, those type of apps, because they help. They listen to what we say, first of all, and then they end up giving you advertisements for things that you're discussing, or things that you're interested in. And so I have there are companies that you can not contract, but that you can subscribe to, that will have um, STEM related projects and programs for your kids and grandkids. Um, if the grandchildren are interested in art, there's lots of apps and products out there, and you can just kind of create different types of boxes and experiences to support whatever their interest levels are. Um, I also want to bring up some apps like YouTube Kids and Mindfulness. And as a grandparent, I really enjoyed that, because it connects them to the things that we're learning as we age. ARP has an ARP Healthy Living page, and where they speak about mindfulness and meditation and resetting. And YouTube Kids has a mindfulness app for toddlers. So if we as grandparents are trying to find different ways to connect with them, ARP has resources and pages that will give you great ideas, and also give you about how to interact with your grandkids and do some of the holistic type of, or intellectual type of activities. So I would check out. I think Suzanne is going to put it up in the chat. ARP has a healthy living page, and you can go on that page and you can find all types of ideas, and help integrate or involve your grandkids in things like yoga, mindfulness. Those things that we're learning are so important to us, are the same things that are important to our grandkids, especially during this pandemic. And so I highly suggest, not only the apps that come on your phone, but checking out the resources at ARP Healthy Living to give you some great ideas about fun ways that you can interact with your kids. One quick story: my 4-year-old grandchild loves mindfulness, and she understands deep breathing and how to reset herself. And I was so tickled because as I grow and develop and learn how to reset myself and learn more about mindfulness, we were able to connect on, with that process. So
That's one. Sesame Street. Is that where you got that mindfulness from? I mean, I remember you were talking about that.
Suzanne.
You were talking about Sesame Street?
Oh yeah, Sesame Street YouTube. And they in YouTube, they actually have a mindfulness app. And so I was just saying that ARP has a page with healthy resources that talks about mindfulness as well. And so if that's being introduced to your grandchildren, you can go to ARP's website and find great ideas about how to connect and integrate your mindfulness activities with your grandkids.
That's fantastic. Oh my goodness. I was just thinking of an app that I like to use with my oldest granddaughter. She loves math. And so we've been doing Kahoot. And so we've been doing math. I'm out gardening and she's gardening with me and we're looking at each other doing this. And then I'll give her some, things. Okay, here's your Kahoot map. Let's go ahead. How much is this? And what is the division of that? And what's the multiplication? Oh my gosh, she just loves the competition of it. It's just great.
Yeah,
So,
and speaking of gardening, I mean, it's
yeah,
not an app, but when you have your grandkids, we were talking about virtual learning. That's really where we started this conversation. If they're for science class, if you could teach them about gardening, you can go in the backyard, or you can even just get a tomato plant on the inside of the house and watch the process of the tomato plant growing, and you could talk about the life cycle of plants. So, they're apps, but there are also interactions that are so important, when we listen to what's going on in our grandkids' lives, that we can come up with some fun ideas of how to supplement that and make it fun for them.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. We did some fun things about exploring nature by starting a garden in planters. And it really ignites that curiosity and it sparks conversations that we can have and see how it's growing. And when we do our little FaceTime thing, and it also lays the foundation for memory making moments. So, I can't wait till Cameron at 3 is going to say to me, Grammy, let's do this again next year. Because she's so proud of what she's seeing, that she's growing and then explaining what's what. So let me ask you, Nannie, you had said something about Instagram. Tell us about this stuff that you can learn about the robotics. Is that something you?
Yeah. Well, so Instagram, as I said previously, if you have our phones are listening to us, and we know Siri and Alexa, they're programmed to hear what you're saying and then provide areas of interest that they know that you're areas that they know that you're interested in. So on Instagram, because I have Instagram and it listens to me, I was interested in finding additional activities for science, technology, engineering, and math. One of my granddaughters, really has a real interest in technology and coding. And so now when on Instagram, advertisements pop up about STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math opportunities, programs, processes, boxes that you can order every month, and they have cute little experiments in them with all the materials, and you can actually just go through all the process of whatever the activity is for that month, and you can subscribe to those types of boxes and have them sent to your grandchildren on a regular basis.
Oh, that's a fantastic idea. I started something called Little Passports. And so once a month, my 2 granddaughters at 3 and 1 actually have an opportunity to travel. They get to travel across the United States as well as around the world. And they get to learn about new cultures, new languages. We've started talking about some Spanish. So we're learning some languages through this, and we just have so much fun. It is. It's just great. And then for them to learn about where Grammy grew up out in Arizona and to see the red rocks and the Grand Canyon and all that kind of stuff, they're like, whoa, that is so cool. This is what Cameron says at 3. And so it is just really, really neat that we can have those types of opportunities. Something that's real interesting that we learned about not long ago was within our Zoom training that there's something called annotation. Have you used that at all?
I have not.
You really need to look at that. It's something that your grandkids can go in and you can actually make pictures. So you might say, well, what do you think a kangaroo looks like, for instance? And they can go in and draw it, and then you can draw it and you can share it and have that conversation about animals or flowers, or going back to your garden, may draw a picture of what they're growing with their tomato plant like you had mentioned. But it's really cool, and it gives them an opportunity to kind of just create and have that imagination. It's just so, yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
well, Suzanne, speaking of gardening, last year, I think I shared this before with you, but last year we started gardening in the pandemic. And so we're talking about, learning and supplementing those opportunities, those experiences, virtually. But my grandkids this year did say, hey, Nanny, when are we going to be planting the garden? Because even it not only teaches them the scientific process of growing things, it also, in the world that we're living in now, gives them an experience of hope and happiness because they see things grow. So that's something that, the gardening piece, we want to do the virtual and technology, but we as grandparents have to remember that socialization and that connection piece, as well. So it's a balance.
That is so important. And we were also talking earlier about looking at books. I want y'all, the audience, think about what was your favorite book that you received, maybe from a grandparent or a relative that you remember. I find myself giving some of the same books because they meant so much to me, to my grandkids. And something that's new that's come out, I don't know if you remember the Wonder Years, that TV show, but Danica McKellar, who is Winnie, she's a math genius, and she's written children's books about numbers, but it's all about life, and all you apply the numbers within your life, and you get the counting and what have you, and it's a night time book right before you go to bed. And so you're doing some things that are about going to bed, but also counting. And my granddaughter loves that book. And she's learning all these numbers, and then now she's reading it to me at 3. And I know you have that experience as well.
Oh yeah. I have 6 grandkids, and as you guys will remember, because I'll say it forever, but each one has different interests.
Yes.
And so and each one is at a different age level. And so, the Highlights magazine, the Bob and Scott books, which were out years ago, and my grandkids are reading them now. My youngest at 4 years old, she's 4, and she's reading those. But then there are other books like Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. I think a lot of women that came up, grandparents would remember that book, and that's still there. And they've rewritten the book for young women or younger, girls, and changed, some of the books content to represent a more modern age. And they have technology written into it, and that's a book that I remember that was a rite of passage that, around the 6th grade, all my friends and I read. Then they also have they still have the mystery books. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I'm
Nancy Drew.
Nancy
Boys.
And the Hardy Boys. Yeah, they're still out. And they're still fun. And my grandkids have certain volumes of them. So yeah, there are lots of books that meant a lot to us in our lives as we were growing up that are still relevant to our grandkids. So.
Gosh, it brings back good memories. That's one of the books that my grandmother used to send me, was always Nancy Drew. And then the Hardy Boys. Yeah, it was really good. And also Agatha Christie, my other grandmother. She loved mysteries, and I became a real fan of that as well. Something else that's a lot of fun and something we've tried is learning to play an instrument. So I gave my oldest granddaughter, who has quite an aptitude for music, and she loves to sing. And so we actually FaceTime, and I've given her some things to play with this keyboard, and she cannot wait. Grammy, look what I've learned. Look. And she'll play it, and then we'll sing together, and what have you. Of course, it's hard to sing on Zoom sometimes. but we have such a good time, and I'm just so grateful that she's actually learning and has the interest for music, because that's so important, and that's so good for your math skills as well.
Right. Suzanne, do we have anybody in the chat that would like to share any information? I mean, their memories or any comments, or would just like to join us for this little chat?
We do. Here's something. Any advice for older kids and teenagers?
Well, yes. As a matter of fact, we're going to have a show later this month about knowing the slang, staying hip and cool. So, and understanding how to communicate. So I would really go back to, and this is just my personal advice, to looking at Instagram, understanding the apps that your kids are on, maybe even making a profile so that you can connect with them. So you may not be able to have a conversation 15 minutes over the phone. And if you have teenage grandkids, you might know if you FaceTime them, you're only seeing the ceiling. So you may not see their face. But I say, find out what's happening in their lives, what technology they're using, which apps they're using, and surprise them, make them laugh. Create a profile or have them help you create a profile, and then you can connect with them.
I love that. Oh my gosh. That's so good.
One more, I'm sorry, I have two 15-year-olds. So one more is
Go ahead.
Find out what music they're listening to. And
Yes.
or go and watch TikTok and see the crazy dances they're doing. And make them laugh, because we can't do those dances. But if they know that we kind of know what's going on in their world, it brings us closer, and and it makes it fun.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. It's all about being relevant.
Yeah.
And we need to be in the moment where our grandkids are. And when they know that, they trust us, they confide in us. And sometimes we know stuff that the parents don't know, right?
Right. And they think we're cool. And,
that's right. We want to be cool. That's right.
Yeah. So
absolutely. That's we are.
But you know what, Suzanne, on a serious note, when you connect with them on their level, it gives you an opportunity to share some of your wisdom and to share some of your old-fashioned, thought processes. But first, we have to engage them to be able to share that with them, right? So I say meet them where they are now, be involved, get to know what they're doing, and then you have an opportunity to connect.
And that really builds character. That also builds values. And you and I are all about the gratitude. We want to make sure that our grandkids are grateful for what they have, what they can give to others, and make a difference. So we want to make sure that everybody is going to fill out this great survey that we've got in the comment chat. And so please go to https://survey.cmex.com/ all these numbers and letters that's in the chat. So please be sure to fill out that survey. We would love to hear your opinion of how we might be able to improve, or how we're so fantastic we don't need to improve. But maybe other suggestions that you have, that would be so important for us, because this program is national. We're very excited how it's gone that way. And we want to continue to be sure that we are giving the best advice and techniques, and also sharing our stories with you. We want to hear from you. Your stories are very important. Go ahead, Nannie.
No, I just want to say that we want to have a conversation, and start a conversation, and for you to share and for us to share our experiences. And that's really what it's about. It's about experiences. So please let us know. We're new at this, but we're working on being better and meeting the needs of the viewers. So we appreciate that. Finally, I want to say, please check out ARP.org. Look at healthy living. Look at the book clubs. Look at those different pages, because what we're experiencing, our grandkids are experiencing on a different level, just on a younger level. And those are great resources to spark ideas for communications and ideas for interacting with your grandkids. So please check those out.
Thanks, Beverly. Well, our next program will be on June 10th. It's going to be actually baking with our grandkids with recipes from our grandparents. So we're going to be using recipes from our grandmothers and grandfathers. And we want to hear from you. What kind of recipes do you have? We'd love for you to share those. And so come see us on June 10th, and you can meet some of our grandkids, and we'll be baking up some non-caloric food. So good times. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Please be safe and well, and demonstrate gratitude every day. Anything else? Final comment?
No, just thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you again on June 10th. And even for grandparents who don't bake like me, we can have some fun with some recipes.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us.